So, we've seen the Bitcoin market stabilize after the large crash to the downside in early August. As discussed in our previous market update, Bitcoin found support from the blue power law trend deviation line and decided to bounce higher in an attempt to reverse the trend of lower highs and lower lows. For the time being, that attempt has failed due to the ugly BART pattern, which gave back all of the returns of the rally. So we're now stuck in limbo again, and you might be wondering where we're headed next. The bulls have to hope that we're not forming some kind of ugly bear flag pattern over here. We have so far printed a series of lower highs and lower lows with an accelerating nature, as illustrated by the support and resistance lines. Now, this weaker short-term pattern is the easiest to change if Bitcoin finds the vigor to have another move to the upside. The real challenge is busting through the resistance areas above that. The more of these lower highs we print, the more resistance there is to cut through. The first real challenge is the 70k area. Can Bitcoin go above that level and find support on top of it? If so, bears would be shaking in their boots, and rightly so. Now, let's look at what the bears are hoping for. The bears have to hope that this large volume spike on the daily chart is just the first of several such spikes and not the final capitulation. In addition, the bears are eagerly waiting for this bottom trend line to break with enough conviction to also take out the current low. If that were to happen, a move toward our green power law trend deviation line would be the most likely support area. The amount of bears would then reach its absolute maximum, and we could already anticipate a lot of people in the comment section expecting the power law to break. I wouldn't want to be a bear fighting against the strongest support area of the power law at that point, unless I had a desire to get absolutely devastated by Bitcoin. Now, that doesn't mean that you can put some kind of degen 100x leverage order right on top of that line, because short-term stop hunts can absolutely happen. As usual, let's try to find some clarity by looking at some other indicators. The local Hurst exponent has now turned yellow after reversing from the very overbought dark orange area. Therefore, we're continuing our reset to a much more healthy region. Will we see green before the real mania phase begins like many times before? Only time will tell. The Detrended Oscillator is also starting to cool down a bit. Let's look at our Bitcoin Power Law Clock. So we have reached 7:59 according to our Power Law Clock. That means that we have only 1 hour left before the mania phase usually begins. However, remember that one rotation around the clock is 4 years. So 1 hour is a whopping 4 months, and a lot can still happen in 4 months. By the way, we work together with LuxAlgo to give you the exact Bitcoin time. As you can see, the Power Law Spiral Clock now displays the minutes as well, so you can conveniently time Bitcoin's market phases even better than before. If you already had the Power Law Clock in your chart, just update the indicator or remove it and add it back to your chart again to apply the update. Now let's look at what the stock market is doing. Interestingly, we can see that there is a divergence building up between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. In the same time period that Bitcoin has been making lower highs and lower lows, the S&P has been making higher highs and higher lows. Bitcoin, being the more volatile and risk-on asset, has often acted as a leading indicator for the stock market, so it's a good idea to keep an eye on this divergence. Let's get back to Bitcoin now and look at the macro picture. So the topic of today is a bit speculative because we're going to try to estimate the shape of the next bull market based on past cycles and what would have to happen with different outcomes of our current battle between the bulls and the bears. So let's look at our first speculative scenario of Bitcoin going up again in the very near future. This would mean that the price action would initially be front-running our bubble projection like in the previous cycle. However, assuming that the periodic pattern of Bitcoin cycles continues, Bitcoiners would most likely have to pay for this early run-up by having a very boring culmination of the bull market. What do I mean by this? Well, the first option is that we will have an initial parabola and an early top, followed by a long stagnation period before topping out at a similar level again. This is exactly what happened in our last market cycle. The other option is that instead of having something resembling an exponential blow off top, we would have to create some kind of very boring rounded top to line up with the next top projection. I don't know about you, but I like the mania phase to be truly manic. So what about our next scenario? Well, the next scenario is that Bitcoin will continue to blow off some steam over here by going sideways, boring everybody to death for some more months until we get closer to or even intersect our bubble projection before starting a truly parabolic move to the upside again. The third scenario is very similar to the second one, with the main difference being that instead of going sideways, we will descend some more before getting closer to or intersecting our bubble projection area. This would be the most fun scenario and the most lucrative for swing traders, because it would offer the highest possible ROI potential. This is because we would be going from the lowest power law support regions to the highest ones in a very short period of time. So the question now is, which scenario is the most likely? Well, all we need to do is zoom out. In 2 out of 3 cases, we actually started the mania phase inside the bubble projection. Therefore, scenario 2 and 3 would technically be more likely than the first one. Bear in mind though, a sample size of 3 is quite small when looking at this scientifically. And even if there is a trend here, a 1 in 3 chance is still very high. So what is my current sentiment? You have seen me go from bearish to only slightly bearish, as we have continued dropping lower over here. Therefore, my current conviction is not as high anymore, but I still want to see what Bitcoin decides to do in this general area. I'm fine with either way and ready to turn bullish quite soon as we get closer to 9 o'clock, or start creating a bullish price structure over here. I would turn super bullish even faster in case of a slightly larger correction, because we would be hitting the power law support floor with very limited downside potential left after that. If you'd like to see more content from us, check out our other platforms. For example, we have recently created a new subreddit that you can find by searching for BTC_Power_Law. Everybody can post their ideas here, so you're more than welcome to join our community. The same goes for our Luxalgo Telegram group. Our group has recently surpassed 200 members, and you really don't want to miss out on some of the great conversations we're having there. If you would like us to be able to continue producing similar content in the future, feel free to support our work by subscribing to our Luxalgo TradingView indicators by going to luxalgo.com/BTCPowerLaw. They represent amazing value and help you understand where we currently are in Bitcoin's market cycle. Choosing the yearly subscription lowers the price to just $21 a month, which still gives you access to all our current and future Luxalgo indicators. Extra perks include a Luxalgo member rank on our Telegram channel, the ability to be in the credits of our videos, and free personal consultations with me or Giovanni. We also have a merch store with some great collections available, so if you're more interested in merch instead, head over to bitposeidonstore.com. This is Saverio speaking, and as always, thanks for watching.